Hey guys, welcome to the first episode of Dark Slate Media's The Slatanist. My name is Luke, and today we are going to be talking about a supernatural horror film that not a lot of people are talking about called Brightburn. This film is directed by David Yarovesky. I don't know. I cannot really say his last name, so we're just going to call him David Y. This film is also written by the Gunn brothers, Brian and Mark Gunn, and it's also produced by James Gunn, so it's basically like the Gunn family movie kind of thing. The film stars Elizabeth Banks, David Denman, and Jackson A. Dunn in the leading roles, and it tells the story of a young alien child that gets adopted by the Breyer family, who eventually discover that this is indeed not a child and is something much more sinister. Now, in complete honesty, I wasn't really looking forward to this movie, because I remember seeing a trailer to this a long time ago, but then I completely forgot about it and I had zero expectations. I went in with an open mind just to watch it, and my god, Brightburn was pretty disappointing. Essentially, Brightburn is an origin story of an evil Superman. That's kind of the gist of it. You could see it from all the trailers, promotions for this movie. That's how this movie has been marketed as. And it kinda is, but it wasn't properly executed, and I will get more into that later. But for now, we gotta talk about the good things of this film, and there are a few of those as well. Now, before we go too deep into things, I just want to give huge props to the main actor, Jackson A. Dunn, who has done a phenomenal job in portraying Brandon Breyer, because this whole movie would fail if he did not give a fantastic performance, and he did really, really well. He killed it as the main character in this film. Having child actors being the main star in your film is in itself a very huge gamble, because not all child actors can actually deliver a fantastic performance as well as Jackson A. Dunn did. And also shout out to Emmy Hunter, who plays a very small part in this film, but in that small part she actually did her job really well, and I think she deserves massive props for that. I first got her mixed up with this other girl from The Nice Guys. I thought it was the same girl, then I googled it, which is not creepy. It's not creepy to Google a small girl, but Elizabeth Banks and David Denman play the parents of Jackson A. Dunn's character, Brandon Breyer, and they are both very serviceable. Like, they can literally be played by anyone else and the movie would make no difference. So in that sense, it didn't really kill the character as well as the child actors did. But it was very good to see Elizabeth Banks back into a horror movie, because I think the last time that I remember seeing her in a horror movie was in Slither, and that was also directed by James Gunn. So the circle way, tell you that's a James Gunn family movie way. Confirm. Secondly, this movie had some of the best kills in any horror movie so far this year. So far lah. Let's see how it does it. But so far, this movie has the best kills, because the way people die in this movie are some of the most creative things you'll ever see in any movie yet. Because I think that they really utilize the above 18 certification that this movie got specifically for these kills. And if they had like a montage on YouTube just with these kills from this movie, I would just watch that rather than going through this movie, because yeah, it's now on to the cons of the movie, and trust me, this movie has a lot of them, but the main one being that this movie had a very, very compelling idea that if Superman came to Earth, but he wasn't the good guy that everyone claims he was, but he was instead like, he had this villainous motive behind him, and he grew up to be a villain. And that would have been like a really good story to see the whole like life process of him from being a child all the way up to being an like this big super villain adult. But that's not this movie. That's just the idea that this movie had. And I feel like that's such a missed opportunity that they could have done so much better with it. The film presents itself with so many opportunities that it could have went with. For example, there's this one scene in this film where Brandon discovers that he is more than just a human being, that he's a far more superior being. And as soon as he does this very intense moment that happens after that, and then it's never mentioned again. I mean, like, what happened in that? But I cannot really spoil this movie yet because it's not out in a lot of places, but when you see it, you will actually know when it happens. Like, as this whole movie progresses, you will start to think about what happened to that. Like, that was never mentioned again, and what happened to that. I could have went with that story, because if they went with that story instead of the one that we have here, it would have opened up a lot of different branches to make this movie that much more satisfying to watch, actually. With that brings me to my next point, which is the writing in this movie is really messy. It's all over the place. There's no defined goal. Brandon Breyer in this movie basically has no character arc. I mean, you could actually debate that, saying that his main arc was that he learns that he doesn't have powers, and then he eventually learns that he has powers. And what he does with that powers is never explained. He just starts killing people because, I don't know. I think another problem with this movie is that it's actually setting up for the next movie rather than this movie being a movie in itself. You don't know if you're supposed to root for him or if you're not. I wish that they had done something with it where you could see him grow up, like grow older, and then he does something with it. Maybe that will happen in the next movies, which is my same point, that you don't know that they are actually setting up for the next movies, and I don't know, man. It's just like, what? In conclusion, I think Brightburn was a really entertaining film for what it was. If you go into this movie with an open mind, without really thinking about it too much, you would have a really, really good time with it. However, I think this movie is worth watching for those kills alone because they are really sick. Like one of the best kills, as I mentioned earlier. Go see it for that. But that alone doesn't make you want to watch a movie, right? You want to be totally invested in the plot and all that. So I would say you can wait for those kills to come out here on YouTube and you can watch it. So yeah, this movie would have done much better if it were like to come out on Netflix or something like that, because then it would have gotten a bigger buzz and more people would be actually talking about this, and I feel that would have really, really benefited the movie, especially now since it has been 2 weeks since Avengers came out and people are still seeing it. So I don't know how this film is gonna do at the box office, we'll see. And yeah, thank you all so much for watching, guys. This is our first episode of this series. Be sure to like, comment and subscribe down below. We'll be posting videos every Friday, and also follow us on our social medias at Dark Slate Media. Links are down below. And I hope to see you next week. And always remember, you're never alone when watching a horror movie.